Hey everybody, this is Jen. Welcome to the homestead and welcome to my channel. So today we are going to be talking about a very popular weed that you might find either in your yard, you know somebody who has them in their yard, or maybe you just see them when you're walking around in nature or things like that. But this weed happens to be a very good wild edible, and it also has medicinal properties. What is this weed? Well, follow me along right here on Garden Jen's Journey. Okay, so here is a glimpse of this weed that grows like crazy all over our yard. Crazy, crazy, crazy. Here's some bigger ones. Look at these things. Go over here. Here's some bigger ones. Pretty crazy, huh? How many of these are all over my yard? Yeah. Here's a giant one stuck right here amongst an area that has not been weed whipped yet. That's a pretty big one. Okay, so now that I've shown you one variety of this weed, you probably might recognize it as something that grows in your area. And some people hate this particular plant because it does spread all over, and at times, especially in the middle of the summer, it's sending up little seed spikes, and those are a nightmare to try to mow down. Lots of times when my husband is mowing lawns and things like that, those plants are the only thing that's growing, and they send up those little seed spikes, and so he has to go mow all those seed spikes down, and it's just like crazy because the grass isn't growing, but those seed spikes are. So they can be a bane of a homeowner who wants to have an immaculate looking lawn. However, as you can see, they're growing all over my yard, and I really don't care because I know the value that they have. Again, they are a wild edible, and they have medicinal properties. So the name of the plant is called plantain. Not to be confused with the fruit that kind of looks like a banana, but it's plantain, the herb. And I'm going to show you another one that I'm actually going to be harvesting today, and I'm actually going to be transplanting it to a different location because where it's at, my husband is going to be rototilling. So I want to move it, and I'll explain that in a minute. So plantain, it's a wonderful, wonderful plant. So it is found in footpaths, roadsides, waste ground, meadows, and lawns. So do any of those areas happen to describe your environment? Now where we live, we have a combination of all that. We live in a low-lying wetland kind of swampy area that also is meadows and open fields for pasture land, and also butts up against some state forest land. So we got a bunch of different ecosystems all combined here. So it's a wonderful habitat for the plantain plant to grow. So there's a couple different varieties. I think there's 3 of them actually. Yeah, there's 3 of them. And I have, I think, at least 2 of them, if not 3. It's hard to tell 2 of them apart. So there's the greater plantain, which is basically what I showed you. There's ribwort or narrow leaf plantain, which is what I'm going to show you in a minute. And then there is the other plantain. Let's see. So they're familiar weeds. We know this. So I'm looking at one of my herb books here. I haven't shared this one with you, but I try to make sure to put them all in the description box so you can find them for yourselves. It's an excellent book. It is this book right here. Let's see if it'll focus. Backyard Medicine. And I got this from my local tractor supply company, but you can find it on Amazon, so I'll make sure to link it below. And I do have a killdeer flying around. Haven't figured out where it's nesting at, but it's not in our property, it's somewhere next to it. So yes, we have the killdeer that's just screaming like crazy. All right, so one of the things that you can easily do when you have an injury, like a insect sting or something like that, or you cut yourself or scrape yourself, you can grab one of those plants right away, chew it up, and put it as a poultice right on the wound. It helps stop the pain, it stops the bleeding, and it also helps draw out the venom and whatever for the insect bites and the stings to help it stop hurting. There are some other steps you have to take after that, of course, but as a general first aid, immediate relief, plantain is good for that. They are the ripwort, which is what I'm going to show you next, is the best one to use if you can find it, because it has most of the compound in it that makes this plant really useful for medicinal properties. It's an antihistamine, which is why it helps with bee stings and bug bites. Shakespeare mentions plantain, and we haven't tried it on broken bones, but we found it to be efficient at clearing heat and inflammation, because that was one of the claims that Shakespeare made, is it was a healer of broken shins. Kind of interesting, right? So they're great purifiers. If you have some toxins or something like that that's in a wound, some dirt or anything like that, a poultice is a great way to take care of that. It draws out dirt, pus, and venom, like I had mentioned earlier. They've also been used to treat blood poisoning and gangrene. Now you guys know how dangerous both those two items are, blood poisoning and gangrene. So if you're out in the wilderness and you can't get to a hospital or something like that right away, and you find some plantain, use that immediately to start the treatment until you can get to a medical facility. It might save your life and save your limb. Plantain closes the gaping wound. It is known as a healer of wounds, but you do have to make sure to do your research and use common sense when using these herbs, that if there's something that is beyond your control, that you definitely seek the proper medical care. Plantain is useful for treating infections of the teeth and the gums. You just chew it up in your mouth, and that helps a lot. If you don't like chewing it, because it is kind of a bitter herb, you can definitely make a tea or a gargle rinse out of it, so that helps. And it relieves toothaches until you can get to a dentist for that very reason. So it has a mucus effect, it has a soothing effect on the mucous membranes of the digestive tract, and it's used to treat stomach ulcers and irritable bowel syndrome. So, and I just started going through some of the stuff that is in this book about plantain. There's like 5 pages. I use it in my herbal salves for cold sore relief and things like that, because it's a wonderful, wonderful herb. Now those seed spikes that people absolutely cannot stand because they're just everywhere, they're actually good too. So if you can bear with those ugly looking seed spikes just for a little bit, the seeds in them actually have medicinal properties as well. They are very absorbent and act kind of like a psyllium husk. It's kind of neat, isn't it? So yeah, and it's also anti-diarrhea. I think everybody needs to have something that helps with diarrhea, don't you? So ribwort, again the narrow leaf variety, is the best one for treating coughs. and is recommended for chronic bronchitis. Now my son deals with chronic bronchitis a lot. He is an asthmatic, and he also, his respiratory system gets very easily inflamed. So this is very good for him with his chronic bronchitis, and as well as persistent irritable coughs. So if you've got this cough, you're not sick or anything, but you just got this cough, this nagging cough that won't go away, make yourself a tea, and this helps with that. And also, if you're dealing with crap that's been in your lungs for a long time, especially if you've had bronchitis a lot, or if you got pneumonia, sometimes stuff gets trapped down in there and you can't bring it up. Your lungs feel really heavy. This also helps bring up that old crap to get it out of your system. So yeah, that's, like I said, that's just some of the things that's in this book about plantain. I use it all the time. And now I'm going to show you the ribwort, which is a narrow leaf plantain, so you guys can easily identify it in your neck of the woods and be able to harvest some for yourself. So let's head on over to the ribwort. Alright, so this is the ribwort plantain. Most people call it narrow leaf plantain. And this is what it looks like after being transplanted. My video had cut out before I was able to actually show you what it looked like before I transplanted it. But I think you can still kind of get the idea here of what it looks like. It's narrow leafed, and it grows quite large in clumps if, of course, you're not mowing it down and stuff like that. But yeah, this is the one that you want to have, if possible, for the best medicinal properties. But the broadleaf plantain, which is what I showed earlier, is just as well. Now, if you guys do not have either the broadleaf plantain or the narrowleaf, the ribwort, I do sell seeds, organically grown seeds, that I harvest straight from these plants here, that I do have available. So if you're interested in getting some plantain seeds, shoot me an email at the email address in the description box, and I will send you the information on how to get these seeds to you. Okay, so now that I have shared the wonderful world of plantain with you today, I hope that you can find more of an appreciation for this weed that tends to grow everywhere. It is a wonderful wild edible and has some wonderful medicinal properties to help you and your family get through some rough patches in your life. I hope you liked this video today. Please give it a thumbs up if you did, and share it with your friends and family who might find this information beneficial. If you haven't already, make sure to click the subscribe button down below. That way you can follow me along as we consider more herbs that grow here on the homestead and other items that we do here, like gardening and cooking and all sorts of good stuff. So again, we'd love to have you along on this journey. And I hope, wherever you are, you're wonderfully blessed. So until next time, everybody, bye-bye.